All right, welcome to day 12 of the visualization training program. And today we're going to have you complete an exercise without using a chessboard or without looking at a chessboard. And that's what we're going to be doing a lot of from here on out. Now, the difficulty is going to start going up a bit. And so don't get frustrated. Um, if you struggle getting the correct answers, that's part of the process. It's just we want to learn as much as we can from this, and so what we'll be having you do is write down your answers on a piece of paper or however you want to do it. Record your answers, and then if you get them wrong, visualize and just look at on the board the ones that you got wrong. And so for this week or for this day, the exercise is to name all the squares that a bishop controls from each of the following squares. And those squares are B2, G2, B7, and G7. And note, these are the squares that the bishop moves to when it fianchettos. So we're looking at what squares the bishops control when they are developed to their fianchetto squares. And so you want to list all the squares controlled by a bishop on B2, all the squares controlled by a bishop on G2, all the squares controlled by a bishop on G7, and all the squares controlled by a bishop on B7. And then, so I would suggest you just pause this video, and when you're done, we will just look at some other observations and just take it a little bit deeper. So good luck, and then just restart the video when you're done. All right, so I have the four bishops set up on their fianchetto squares, B2, G2, B7, and G7. And if you want, you can pause the video and just use this board to check your answers. And then when you're done with that, I just want to just point out a couple quick things. All right, so just a couple quick observations here. First, I just wanted to look at the dark squared bishop, so the bishop on B2 and the bishop on G7. One thing to note is that the fianchetto square for both these bishops happens to be right in the cockpit of our X-wing fighter corners. So you can think of the X-wing fighter, and this is the cockpit. And these are connected through the center by D4 and E5. And if we draw a line and split the board down the H1 to A8 diagonal, we notice these are all corresponding squares. They're like mirror image reflections. So I just wanted to point that out, reinforce it. That's, like if you really burn those X-wing corners and the connection of those two, using these four center squares, it really does can help visualizing the board. And the same thing would hold true with the light squared bishops. They're both basically in the cockpit of an X-wing corner, like that. And if we drew a line down the long dark squared diagonal, these two bishops are mirror images of each other. And actually all these are kind of mirror images. All these squares on the X-wing corners are corresponding squares, and they're connected by D5 and E4. So just kind of an interesting observation. So what we'll do is that's the exercise for today, and we will see you tomorrow. If you want to get any extra practice, you could certainly do the Chess Vision Trainer on chess.com or the Coordinate Trainer on Lee Chess Coordinates. All right, see you next time.